And we are live. Hello, everybody. As you guys know me, I am Matthew, the creator and proprietor of this channel, I suppose. And I'm here with a very special guest and a very, very dear friend of mine, a fellow writer and bookworm, Emily. Hello.
Hi, thanks for having me as your, first on the new channel
I know, right?
live guest.
Yeah, it's been so long since we've done one of these. I think it's been like 3 years since we've done one of these on my channel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this has been a long time coming, and I'm so thrilled to have you. And Emily and I are going to be talking tonight about our top 10 favorite books of all time, and that word gets thrown around very easily these days.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I can speak for both of us when I say that for all 10 of the books that we've chosen, including a few that we have in common, it's absolutely true. So yes. We're going to be going from book number 10 all the way to book number 1. And we're thrilled that everyone can join us tonight. So hope you guys enjoy. But before we get started, Emily, did you want to kind of like introduce yourself and talk about your like creative channel and things like that?
Yeah, so my main channel on YouTube is Hickipedia. It's like Wikipedia, but Hikkipedia. And that's how I met Matthews, through his love of Japanese music.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a channel all about reviewing Japanese music and talking about news. And I'm a big fan of Hikaru Utada. So I do a lot of videos centered around them. And I also had a creative like writing and drawing channel. It's since been retired, that I shared with another friend of mine. And recently I started making TikToks. I have been taking a break for it just because like the app scares me a little. Like I think I'm a little too old for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I made a few videos on there so far about writing advice. So they're on there under the name Word Grub. And then I also have posted them on my Word Grub Instagram. I know that's a lot of different names I just threw out there, but yeah.
Yeah, all of Emily's social media and wherever you can find her will be linked in the description section down below once this gets archived. So you'll be able to find her and connect with her, and she is absolutely fantastic.
Oh,
her debut novel, Feet Like Ice, is coming soon. She's currently going through editing hell. I am currently going through drafting hell.
Yeah.
And
we have a third member of the live stream here.
Hello, Kitty.
Poe.
After Edgar Allan?
Yep.
Nice. Very appropriate live stream guest. Considering.
Are you gonna lay down? Okay.
So, Emily, how difficult was this to actually narrow it down? Because I know it was really difficult for me.
Yeah, for me, I read a lot of comics, so I found like the couple of graphic novels I included more difficult than novels. Like, I don't know why the regular novels are really standing out in my mind, so I didn't have as much trouble picking those.
Yeah.
How about you?
I was exactly the opposite, because I read mostly novels. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, obviously I used to read a lot of manga back in the day, and I've kind of gotten back into graphic novels. I've read, I'm not going to say one of them because you'll hear about it soon enough.
Oh, good.
It's in my top 10.
Awesome.
But I've also read Bloom by Kevin Panetta, which is an LGBTQ plus graphic novel that's actually getting a sequel. I'm so excited.
Nice. I have that one too.
That was adorable, and I loved it. shout out to my friend Clint over at Reads Readers for recommending that to me because that was fabulous. And my heart, oh my god. But yeah, so I was kind of the opposite of you because the novels were more difficult than the graphic novel because it's like, okay, this one graphic novel series has my whole entire heart, so obviously it has to be in here.
Right.
Right. So yeah, do you want to go ahead and get started?
Yeah, so we arranged this so we would start with the same book.
Right. The Goldfinch by Donna Hart.
Yeah, you have the paperback.
I do. Do you have the hardcover?
I have the hardcover.
Oh, lucky.
Okay.
It's so difficult to keep things in frame.
Yeah, my bunny made a snack of mine.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, right there you can see. She really loves the dust jackets on my books.
Yeah. But the Goldfinch, I mean, I knew it was probably going to be one of a couple that we shared, given that you recommended it to me initially back when we met in Toronto. Because I remember you were like, for book recommendations, do they have to be LGBTQ? And I'm like, no. And then you're like, you should read The Goldfinch. And I'm like, yes. And then I read The Goldfinch in my tiny mass market paperback edition. And then I upgraded to the paperback edition, and now I want that hardcover, so I might have to buy it a third time.
It's heavy. Do you have the author on the back?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Oh, this picture is bigger. She's so sexy and mysterious.
Yeah, she's pretty sporadic in terms of her writing. Do we know if she's writing another book?
I assume she is, but it takes her 10 years, she said, to write each book.
Yikes.
So, yeah, that's why she only has 3 novels out.
Yeah. Something Friend, then The Secret History, then The Goldfinch, right?
Yeah. The Little Friend.
Right, that's it. Yeah. I couldn't remember what the second word of it was. So, talk a little bit about what drew you to The Goldfinch and why it's amongst your top 10 in terms of your favorite books of all time.
So you guys can probably see how big this book is.
Yes, it is massive.
It's a long book.
I think it's like 900 and something pages or over 1,000.
Oh, like, probably the mass market one is. This one is 771. Yeah,
let's see. I haven't read from this edition yet. I just own it.
Yeah, same with this one. I listened to the audiobook.
Yeah, so the paperback edition is 771 as well.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, so...
But yeah, the mass market paperback was like over 1,000 pages, and it took me so long to get through. But anyway, go ahead with what drew you to The Goldfinch, and why is it among your favorite?
So I found that it was just so in depth into the main character Theo's life that even though it's so long, I never felt bored or that it was dragging at all. Like, I was so intrigued through the whole thing. And if you guys don't know, I guess we should give a little summary of the book. It's about this young boy, Theo, whose mother dies suddenly in implied terrorist attack. You never really find out what happens to her, and then it spans his whole life with him dealing with untreated like PTSD, and having moved in with his estranged father, and then having like this like gay awakening with his friends, and then them becoming it just like spans his whole life, and it was beautiful.
Absolutely. And I actually have my father reading The Goldfinch right now. He's about
great.
He's over halfway through it, and nice. he is loving it. And then I also own the movie adaptation that they did, which I love the movie. Which I know a lot of people did not like, but I loved it, and you just said you loved it. So
I loved it.
Let's say hello to Unholy Triforce.
Hey!
He says, hi, Matthew. Hi, Emily. Hello, hello.
Hope you're doing good tonight. Thanks for your support, as always.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So far, the only one in the chat, but that's okay.
That means you're number one to us.
Yep. Yeah.
So what did you like about the Goldfinch, or what impressed you about that?
I think for me, it's a lot of what you said. It's very difficult to keep me engaged through such a long piece of literature and keep it exciting and keep it from feeling like, oh my god, this is so long.
Yeah.
Like I just want to get to the end of this.
Yeah.
I never got to that point with this book, even though I probably could have at some point. And like you said, Theo is just like a fascinating character, and his like growth throughout the novel from his childhood into his adulthood was just beautiful. And Donna Tartt's writing, it's a little bit dense, but it's also like incredibly vivid and beautiful as well.
Yeah.
So,
I think the density comes from how in-depth she gets with like the character study.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I have to say the audiobook is amazing. It's one of my favorite audiobooks. I've probably listened to like almost 1,000 audiobooks by now, but the narrator does like this amazing voice for Theo's stepmother.
Yeah.
Xandra.
Yeah.
It was so amusing, but
it was, yeah. Because I've listened to it on audiobook as well myself.
Oh, okay. Awesome. But so how did you feel at the ending of that book?
Oh god, it's been so long since I've read it that I probably need to reread it in order to give any like definitive thoughts on the ending. But
yeah,
I just remember being absolutely blown away by it when I read it. So yeah, of course of course it made my top 10. Like of course.
I kind of felt devastated at the end, not because it's a sad ending. I'm not going to say what the ending is, but I felt devastated because I felt so close to the characters that I actually didn't want it to end, even though it was so long.
And that's probably like the only reason I wish they had done maybe a TV series adaptation of the book as opposed to a film. Because as much as I love that film, I feel like doing the novel proper justice required multiple episodes rather than like 2.5 hours or however long it is of film.
Yeah, they could have definitely got like 3 seasons out of that book if they did a show.
Absolutely. I mean, if and this is gonna cause a lot of people to dislike me, but I actually do enjoy the show Shadowhunters.
Oh, no, I've heard a lot of people like it. Why would that make it dislike you?
No,
no,
it's not controversial to like it, but I'm just saying if they could get 4 seasons out of Cassandra Clare's books, which I like less than the show, and that's where it gets controversial.
Okay.
Because a lot of people love Cassandra Clare to the absolute ends of the earth, and I just didn't like the books that much, unfortunately.
I thought you did like them.
Well, I shouldn't say I didn't like them, but I'm just like, okay, do I really want to read like an entire universe of books set in this when I have the show? No. So that could be a little bit controversial, and obviously she's still writing in the Shadowhunters verse, and I'm just like, woman, give it a rest.
Yeah, she must be tired of it too.
Yeah, but it's like, yeah, if they could get 4 seasons out of her books, then they could easily get at least 3 out of the Goldfinch if they were to do a TV adaptation. For sure.
Yeah.
So, what is your... I guess we should move on. Number 9?
So my number 9 that I picked is this volume 1 of a comic called Hemlock.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
I love that art already.
I was gonna say her art is way better now, since this is like an old, obviously with comics and web comics, you watch the artist like grow over time,
Mm-hmm.
which I really love about them too. But the author is Jocelyn Fenton, and I believe she is based in Norway, and it says on the back here, a fairy tale set in the forest of 19th century Scandinavia. And it has some retellings of Baba Yaga in here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all in black and white.
Oh, I see.
And it's kind of like Tim Burton-y.
Yeah, I was going to say very Tim Burton, very surrealistic almost, I guess.
Yeah. And the reason I like this is because I like the art, but like the story is pretty original, but she still manages to fit in like all these fairy tale elements. And it's also like comedic, but high tension at the same time. So it's like very tight storytelling.
I see. So talk to us a little bit about what the story of Hemlock actually is about and how you stumbled upon it.
I think it got recommended to me from someone that I did the comic books with that I did a few years ago, the Valor anthologies.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the editors mentioned this one. So it's about this young lady that is a witch. It's been a while since I read this, so this girl is the main character.
Mm-hmm.
And a cursed frog sort of like tags along with her, and he's a prince, I believe. I'm probably like explaining this completely wrong, but yeah, I don't really remember the plot after that, but I believe there's 5 volumes of this out now, like in print, but it's all for free online as well, so you can check it out and read it before you buy it.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and I also met the author at a convention, and she's very sweet.
That's even more awesome.
Yeah, she signed it.
Oh, love that.
Yeah.
I've only been to one author event, which was just before the pandemic started back in February of 2020, and that was some of the most fun I've ever had. So it's super cool that you met the author.
Yeah.
And I've got a whole video about all the signed and personalized books that I have up on my channel, so you can watch that if you're interested after this stream. That's up on my channel now. And before I get to my number 9, I should probably mention that you yourself have a webcomic.
Oh, yeah. Yes. It has been on hiatus this year as I finished my novel. But it's called Kingdom Come, and it's on a site called Tapas. So yeah, it's similarly to this. I really like fairy tale based comics or like retellings. So my comic is like a medieval fantasy with fairy tale elements, and it's kind of like The Wizard of Oz meets Game of Thrones, but in a PG-13 way.
And your art style in that, and like just the storytelling of it, kind of reminds me of a Studio Ghibli film.
Oh, thank you.
and I mean that as the highest possible compliment, because you know how much I love Miyazaki.
I love them too, so thank you very much.
Yeah. So Unholy Triforce here in the chat. I was gonna say it was very Little Nightmares as well. Don't know what don't know what Little Nightmares is, but we'll take your word for it. And
Explain.
Then, yeah, we love signed copies in this community. Yes, we do. Absolutely. So the link to Emily's amazing webcomic, Kingdom Come, will also be in the description section down below.
Thank you.
And you are also you also work and have gotten awards for your work in one other project that I want to highlight.
Yeah.
And that is the Hilda TV show on Netflix. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I went to school for TV animation, and I worked in animation for 12 years now. And yeah, so the past few years, I worked with Netflix. So they outsource to like different animation studios. So we're one of the studios they work with, and I really love their projects. They're very like creatively open, and that's kind of how Hilda came. It started out as a graphic novel series as well, and our studio adapted it for Netflix, and I could not be more proud of the show. It's one of the few like kids shows that I've worked on that I actually will sit down and watch and enjoy.
Absolutely. Like I watch it myself, and obviously to support you. And
Oh, thanks.
every time I see your name come up in the credits, I just feel so much pride and happiness for you.
That's so sweet. Yeah, it's definitely like so weird to see your name on Netflix, but the show I'm working on now actually just came out on Netflix earlier this month. It's called Kid Cosmic.
Ooh, I've actually seen this in the recently added, so I will go ahead and watch that as well.
Oh, awesome. And Centaur World also came out on Netflix, which I worked on like the first couple episodes before I jumped over to Kid Cosmic.
So what exactly do you do on Hilda and on these other shows for Netflix? So what exactly is your...
So I specialize in background art.
Yeah, which is no surprise because anyone who like looks at even the backgrounds of your comic are just so detailed and lush and gorgeous.
Oh my god, I've been so lazy on the backgrounds. I worked on them like pretty hard at the beginning of the comic, and now I'm like, where can I just copy and paste the backgrounds that I've already done? But yeah, so I actually do the painting, so not the like line drawing, but another department does that, and then they hand over their work to me, and then me and my team like work on coloring in the backgrounds, and I fix them up as well. Like, yeah.
Fantastic. I'm so proud of you for all of your success on that.
Thanks.
Like I've said, you've won awards, which is just crazy.
Yeah, well, it's like the whole team won them, so it's not really like me specifically. So
yeah, but like you are a part of an award-winning project, so
yeah, I do. I'm like a 2-time Emmy award-winning artist now.
Yes, you are. So we have an answer from Unholy Triforce about Little Nightmares. Little Nightmares is a video game that has a very gothic and dark art style. Good to know. I'll have to look that one up. I don't know too much about it.
Yeah, I think it's in the Switch store. I think I remember seeing it.
Yeah. And then one of my dear friends as well, another one of my dear friends is here in the chat, Miss Nikki, Dark Between Pages. Hello, my friend.
Thanks for coming out. It's nice to meet you.
Yeah. Love Nikki so much. She's amazing. She does so much for the bookish community, especially like independent authors and publishers. She does some really great work over on her channel if you want to check that out. I've talked about her on my channel before, but if you want to go check Nikki out, then be sure to do that as well. You as well, Emily, she says.
So nice.
Yeah. So, anything more to add about Hemlock? Or
no, you go ahead with your number 9.
So my number 9, and I had troubles picking this one, but I ended up picking it. This is Monster by Walter Dean Myers. It's a pretty old book now. I think it's from like 1999. But it's about this 16-year-old film student who gets arrested and charged with felony murder. And the story itself is actually written in the form of a screenplay, which I
Oh,
think
cool.
is really unique. And I was struggling to pick between The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas and this book, but because I've loved this book for a lot longer, this ended up making the cut over that. But they both have very similar kind of like social justice related issues, and like I said, this book is just like a film, and I think it actually was made into a film by Netflix.
Oh yeah.
But I haven't watched it yet, so I'll have to do that at some point soon. But this book is incredible for all of its age. It is definitely a book that is still startlingly relevant and quite important as a read. So I highly recommend this to pretty much everyone.
Never heard of that. That's really interesting that they publish it in script format.
Yeah, for sure.
You don't come across that pretty often.
No, definitely not. But I really like it, and I think it sets the novel apart for sure. And like just the way that it'll say, like I showed the page, obviously, it'll say like long shot or medium shot, and then have all the details and the dialogue, and it's a really quick it makes for a really quick read, but my god, does it ever give you like a gut punch.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that's my number 9 for sure.
Did you ever read that Harry Potter stage play that came out?
Okay. No.
This is before the cancellation of J.K. Rowling. But...
Okay. First of all, no. And second of all, she who must not be named, because I will not tolerate any form of homophobia, transphobia. I stand very strongly, very proudly with my trans brothers and sisters. I made a very public Instagram post canceling Owl Crate based on their decision. So yeah, she who must not be named will not be mentioned on this channel. Ever.
Okay. I was just going to say it was really bad, but that's the only other script book I've ever seen.
Yeah. In that instance, I will forgive you just this once.
It wasn't written by she who must not be named. It was some other people, but...
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we are on number 8. Emily, if you would like to...
I'm gonna go with one on my phone. So I was telling Matthew before the stream that I had a couple picks that I don't actually. One of them I don't have the physical book for, but this one I just don't know where this book is. I've had a copy of this since I was in high school. So this is Violet and Claire by Francesca Lia Block, one of my favorite authors, and the book is either in storage or my friend has it. But this is about 2 best friends who come from kind of different backgrounds, where one is, she lives with her single mother who is very obese and disabled because of that. And then the other one lives more of like a privileged lifestyle, but her parents are never really around because they don't really pay attention to her or something. They're too busy really to parent her. And this author, Francesca Lia Block, she's the one I sent you a message like a week or so ago that she liked one of my Instagram posts. I was like, oh my god.
Oh, right. Yeah, I remember this. Okay.
She has this, like, I know you've probably heard of like poetic writing before, but this woman has got it down. Like I think she's originally a poet, and then like she like applies her trade of poetry to prose or like in a novel format, and it is so beautiful. It's like this magical fairy, just like lush, just magical garden that all her books are. And I love her writing so much. I loved them since I was in high school, and she writes a lot of LGBT stories.
All right. Immediate stan, yes. I never I hadn't shown this to you, but I got this for my birthday recently from
Oh,
my
nice.
sister. It is a
Yeah.
Pride
Yay.
bracelet,
Very nice.
which I love.
So this book, Violet and Claire, fits in with that. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I'm sure you can make your assumptions from that. But it's just like she writes very tender romances that have like a little bit of angst in them, but they usually end up having a happy ending. And then like she also has these recurring characters. I really like that when writers do like, because then you get kind of like immersed in their universe where like their old characters will pop up again in later books.
It's almost like how Alice Oseman, every book that she's written pretty much is in like the same universe, but it's like different characters, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I highly recommend her books. And she also she does writing courses online. So if you're interested in that, that's out there. But just like, whenever I hear people saying like very poetic writing, I'm like, probably they don't have nothing on this lady. It's like her writing is so beautiful.
Yeah. Fantastic pick. I will definitely have to look for that one.
Yeah.
Unholy Triforce here. Thank you, Matthew, for standing with the trans community against she who must not be named. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I should say too, I stand with the trans community always, and I don't read Harry Potter anymore, and I make sure not to give any of my money to like merchandise or anything. Like the series is ruined for me. So
absolutely, same here, here. And just in case, there will be links to I'll put links to GLAAD's website and other organizations and information that will be in the description section down below as well, so that you can read about these things, and possibly if you want to, I'll have like a donation link to somewhere so that you guys can support LGBTQ plus causes instead of a bigoted offer. So
yeah.
Emily, you're awesome.
Thank you, Unholy Triforce. I appreciate you.
Yeah. So my number 8, and one of the few series that I have in this top 10, the Gone series by Michael Grant. This is the first book in the original 6-book series, but I just brought the first one up here because I love the entire series, and it just made sense to have this here. But this is about a group of teenagers all over the age of 15 or 16 who all of the people older than that age have disappeared. And there's this giant dome enclosure that has surrounded their coastal California town. And the kids begin developing powers, and it's got some LGBTQ plus rep. And it's like a very like in-depth kind of character and action-driven story. And I kid you not, I tore through all 6 of these books when I first read the series back in high school, and it is absolutely edge of your seat storytelling. So high recommendation to this entire series. I have them all in first edition hardcover, which took me so long to find, but I was so glad that I was able to do so. And I just love this series so much, and Michael Grant's a really fantastic author. So be sure to give this one a chance if you are at all into like the sci-fi dystopian kind of stuff, because this is kind of Stephen King meets Stephen King. I had the comparison on the tip of my tongue and I forgot it, but it's like kind of Stephen King, kind of dystopian, and I love it so much. So yeah, that is my number 8. And Nikki is like, yes, because I know Nikki really loves this series as well. Yes, it is sci-fi dystopian horror.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
that sounds good.
it's fantastic. So
yeah, I just added it to my like library wish list while you were describing it.
love that.
yeah.
For sure.
Okay, so my next. This is so fun, by the way.
It really is, yeah.
Okay, so my next pick is Seductive Poison by Deborah Layton. I can show her name here. So this
is that nonfiction? It looks like nonfiction.
You're correct. So this is nonfiction, and the subtitle is A Jonestown Survivor Story of Life and Death in the People's Temple.
Ooh. Like, even if you're not into, like, true crime or cults, which I find absolutely fascinating.
Yeah.
You definitely know Jonestown, for sure.
Yeah.
And I know it was a big influence in your own novel.
Yeah, so that's exactly why I put this in my picks, because I've read this a couple times, and I have the audiobook as well. The writing is not amazing like most nonfiction books are, but it's completely readable still. Like, it's not terrible. But I'm like flipping through, I see every other page is like dog-eared. It has marks on it from me.
Oh my goodness.
But what's fascinating about this book is, even if you know the basic story of Jonestown, like, this woman provides so much insight into how they operated, and it was so instrumental for me in my research for my novel, so I absolutely had to put it in here. Yeah, I just find her story fascinating, and she got out of Jonestown right before the massacre happened, basically, and she was very close to Jim Jones, the cult leader. She actually was like one of his inner circle people. So
wow.
she has really good insight, and just her perspective is fascinating, and she's really brave for sharing her story and everything that happened. So
absolutely,
yeah, I think it's the only nonfiction I have in here, but I do enjoy a good biography, and I have plenty of cult biographies, so this one's in my top.
For sure, I can definitely see why. Unholy Triforce here in the chat. Matthew, I would love to at some point see a video tour of your overflowing bookshelves pop up on YouTube. I am working on it. I need to organize all of my stuff and organize them in the way that I want, but I'll definitely have that up at some point for sure.
How long do you think that will be?
Oh God, who knows? No timeline. And then Nikki with the eye emojis. I think you caught her interest with that last one, because she's really into like the dark nonfiction and the dark fiction and all of that stuff. So yeah. So my number seven here. Where are we? Even 9. Here we go. Is one of my favorite books of last year, and it's definitely such a searing and important read, and that is Surrender Your Sons by Adam Sass.
Wow.
I just recently reread this for my birthday month TBR. I've been reading significant books to me throughout this entire month, from all stages and points of my life. So this is one of them. That was in my current favorites section of the TBR. And it is about a teenager who comes out as gay to his overzealous religious mother, and she ships him off to a conversion therapy camp in Costa Rica.
Oh God.
And it is really visceral and really intense, and the twists in this are absolutely jaw-dropping, and it is so searing and so important, and definitely very like Lord of the Flies meets like if Lord of the Flies was LGBTQ plus. That's kind of how I would describe this.
Oh, I gotta read that then.
Yeah.
The cover is incredible. I love the title too.
Yeah, it is absolutely incredible. I listened to it for the when I first read this book, I listened to it on audiobook, and the audiobook is amazing. Narrated by Daniel Henning, I believe. And he did a really great job with this. And yeah, having read it just recently for a second time, it's just as impactful on reread. So be sure to give this one a read if you are at all interested in heavy hitting, emotional, intense, action packed YA contemporaries. And that is my number 7.
Awesome. Okay, so my next pick is Snot Girl, written by Brian Lee O'Malley, who is the author of Scott Pilgrim, and illustrated by Leslie Hung. And this is volume 3. So again, my friend has 1 and 2. So, but I don't know which volume I would pick as my favorite, but Snot Girl is about this main character, Lottie, and she is like a fashion blogger, like influencer type of character.
Yep.
And she's very like high maintenance, bitchy, and she gets called Snot Girl because she has really bad allergies and she like has a runny nose a lot, and it's like very embarrassing to her.
I see.
But basically, in the first issue, she meets this girl who she has like she shares a kiss with her in a club, and then the girl dies.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
But then Lottie, aka Snot Girl, receives texts from her throughout the series while she's unraveling this mystery involving this girl who she thought died right in front of her.
Oh my goodness. Love that like synopsis. Intrigue.
Yeah.
And the art looks really fantastic as well, if a little bit disturbing.
I like the artwork a lot. This artist, Leslie Hung, she posts a lot of her pencil sketches on her Instagram. I really enjoy those, but the palettes they use also are like very much my aesthetic with lots of pink.
Yeah, the color is just gorgeous.
Yeah, so it's a fun story. I'm always like chomping at the bit for the next volume to come out. So yeah, I would recommend that one.
So she's currently working on more volumes of that, or?
Yeah, it's still ongoing.
Excellent. Good to know. Nikki here says, love that title and that cover. I don't know if that's referring to Surrender Your Sons or Snot Girl, but either or, check. I think you like both, Nikki, for sure. Unholy Triforce says, the topic of conversion therapy is so triggering to me because the things they do to convert people into being straight are truly reprehensible, and I can't believe it is legal in some states.
Yeah.
100% agree. It is disgusting and horrifying and makes me physically ill.
Yeah.
But it's also, like I said, it's very important that we have stories like Surrender Your Sons to bring attention to those issues and the injustices of things like conversion therapy. So, for sure. And then Nikki here with the emojis. Seems very excited. And Unholy Triforce, pink is my favorite color.
Oh, I just dyed my hair pink yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's a bit hard to tell the ends, like, don't look that pink, but
yeah.
Yeah.
There was one point where your hair was so pink. Oh my God.
That was like the worst thing I've ever done.
Yeah. I mean, you totally rocked it, and you looked
God.
amazing. But
I hated it, but thank you.
all right, so my number, what are we on? Number 6? At
Yeah,
this
I think
point?
so.
My number 6 is also a graphic novel, and it is Heartstopper by Alice
Yes.
Oseman.
I love it.
This was originally a webcomic. You can find it on Tapas, which is conveniently where Emily's own webcomic resides.
Mm-hmm.
Any plans to get that in print at all, or by the
Yeah,
way, or
actually, yeah. Once I get more of a chunk done, I'm not sure yet if I'm going to print multiple books, like small books, or if I'm going to wait till the whole comic is done and then print like one big book of it.
I'd say probably do it in like how they do it with manga, the separate
Mm-hmm.
volumes and whatever.
Yeah.
Because if you do it as just one big thing,
Mm-hmm.
it can be a little bit intimidating.
Yeah, and the book would be expensive. So yeah, I think actually that's the best idea is like different volumes, and then at the end maybe I'll do like an omnibus of the whole thing as like a Kickstarter or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so people want that, they can get it.
Yeah, but I will definitely be buying that as soon as it's in print.
Oh, thank you.
I love your story so much, and you know
Oh, thank
that. So.
you. Thank you so much.
Anyway, back to this. Because this story took over my entire life for a couple of days when I buddy read it with my dear, dear friend Lucy over at the channel Books and Brushes here on YouTube. And we buddy read it on Tapas, past what was out at the time. And it is a really like cute, romantic, fluffy, uh, kind of coming of age comic about these two English schoolboys who end up falling in love with each other, and it is so pure and wholesome. And there's also some really great mental health and eating disorder representation in the later volumes, which is so sensitively and respectfully handled. And just looking at even Alice Oseman art style, this is in like a greenish, bluish kind of color,
Mm-hmm.
which is really nice. And then her art style is kind of simple, but also like just really like eye-catching and appealing as well.
Yeah.
And I love this story and these characters with my entire heart.
Yes.
And I'm so excited because Netflix is doing a live action adaptation of this, which will hopefully be dropping at some point in 2022, according to Alice Oseman's Instagram. So really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I binge read that after you recommended to me as well.
You're welcome.
It's so good.
It really is, yeah.
Yeah.
Unholy Triforce here says, I was thinking it looked pinkish and had this thought that you would look good with super pink hair.
Thank you. There is one or two videos on my channel where I did have like hot pink, hot fuchsia hair.
Yeah. And then Nikki here says, oh, I didn't know it was being adapted into film. Very exciting. Way to go, Netflix. It's actually being made into a TV series, so even better.
Yeah.
Even better. I'm so excited for it.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. Not sponsored. Hashtag not sponsored. Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are heading into our top 5.
Mm-hmm. 1,
so
2, 3,
Emily,
4, 5. Okay. Yeah. So number 5, I picked The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert.
Ooh, I know Nikki is going to love you for that because she recommended that book to me and I still have it on my shelf. I've still yet to read it, but given that I trust her recommendations so much, and obviously I trust your recommendations a lot because we've known each other, what, 5 or 6 years now?
Yeah, at least.
At least, and whether it's music or film or something, you've never steered me wrong, so yeah. I know Nikki's a big fan of that book as well, so go ahead and talk about The Hazelwood and why you like it so much.
Oh my god, I love this book. So first of all, the style I'm not one to be wowed by a lot of different styles. Like, I know I
Mhm.
talked about the poetic style from Francesca Leah Block, but this one, Melissa Albert's writing, she always comes up with these weirdly fitting metaphors that are also original. Like, I can't think of anything, but like, yeah, just
If you've read the book, they'll know what you mean. So
yeah. But it's just so interesting the way she comes up with these metaphors. Like, keeps me hanging on. Just her weird like similes and metaphors. It's like, but so this book is about a teenage girl, and she is approached by a young man who is a fan of her grandmother's fairy tale collection, and her grandmother's fairy tale collections have like a cult following.
Mm-hmm.
And there's her latest book now actually is that collection. It's like a short story collection.
I see.
Of the actual like it's called Tales from the Hinterland. So that's what her book is in this book. And what I loved about those fairy tales is that they're very dark and creepy and unsettling, and they don't have like a moral like or a lesson to be taught sometimes. So like if you think of like a lot of modern fairy tales are like trying to teach you not to be greedy or vain or something, but these ones are just like bizarre and creepy. And so then the main character kind of unravels a mystery involving her family history and that collection of fairy tales. I don't want to spoil it, but it's a beautiful book and original, and I love the sequel as well. I like this one a little bit more, and I enjoyed the short story collection as well. That came out this year, I think, but yeah, that's the Hazelwood.
Awesome. I will definitely need to read that now and put that like on my priority list higher up on my.
Definitely let me know when you get to it.
Will do. Nikki here says, I always say Netflix needs to sponsor us all. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
Well, Emily's actually worked for Netflix, so.
They do pay me already. So.
Yes, why do people not like that one? Referring to the Hazelwood.
Oh.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
And then I know a lot of people in my community call that poetic style purple prose, which I think sounds so pretty. Agreed.
Yeah, if it's done well, then it's done well. Like some authors go for it and it's just like overly wordy and it's not original or
yeah, for sure. And then Unholy Triforce, I love the gold and silver inlays in the dust jacket. They make that cover pop, and it is so pretty.
Yes,
it is stunning. Absolutely.
I love a beautiful hardcover like that you just want to face out, you know?
Yeah,
on the
absolutely.
shelf, so you always see this.
I'm getting total The Never Ending Story vibes from that book as well. Don't know if that's accurate. I haven't read the book, but I'll take your word for it.
I haven't either, but from what I know of the premise, it's like where a kid goes into a storybook, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Your next one.
So my number 5 is yet another series, and it is yet another series that I buddy read with my dear friend Lucy over at Books and Brushes, and that is Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa. This is a Japanese-inspired fantasy, and it follows a half kitsune, half human girl named Yumiko, who contracts with this kind of like dark vagabond type character named Tatsumi to get her to an ancient temple after her own temple is destroyed in an attempt to get an ancient scroll. And there's like 3 pieces of this scroll, and she's been told by the people that she was raised by to go to this temple. So she hires him to kind of protect her along the way, and they end up meeting this whole other group of people, and it's kind of, I compare it to like a Japanese mythological version of Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo,
Mm-hmm.
because it's got that same kind of unexpected team dynamic, that same kind of like epic fantasy dynamic, but Japanese inspired. And
Mm-hmm.
Julie Kagawa's writing is so lush and so cinematic and so beautiful that I absolutely need a film series of this. 100%. It needs to be done. And the entire series is just a breathless, beautiful affair. And I do not want to spoil anything, but there are LGBTQ plus themes in this novel, and they are so amazing. And I love this so much. And it is my favorite fantasy series of all time. Point blank. 100%. So
Every time I see that book, I'm like, oh, I need to read that right away. I
yeah.
still haven't.
Mm-hmm. We have a couple of comments here. Eric LaRocca, who Nikki and I both love, he is a independent horror author who does LGBTQ plus horror, and he's like so disturbingly tasteful. It is incredible. He just recently sent me an e-arc of his upcoming short story collection, so I can't wait to sink my teeth into that.
Bless.
And then I love Japanese and Japanese inspired works, so Shadow of the Fox is going on my list of books that I need to get a hold of so I can read it. Yes! It is such an underrated series. I have not heard literally anyone talk about it except for me and Lucy. So the more people who read it, the better, and as far as I'm concerned, because it's truly phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely phenomenal. So, moving on, number 4.
Yes. So this one, I don't own a paper copy of. I only have it on Audible, but it is one of my favorite books of all time. Obviously, The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers.
Mm-hmm. Which is one that I've heard of, but I've never read myself. So I'll be very interested to hear what you have to say about this one.
Yeah. So I love her whole series. This one is definitely my favorite, though. So she writes science fiction, but I think of it like a softcore science fiction or like fantasy sci-fi, where it's not too heavy on the science, and it's more about the characters and like different alien species.
Okay.
And the worlds and stuff. And just the characters she created are so lovable. I love the whole cast in this book, and she plays with a lot of different themes that I found interesting. Like she was the first author I read who used non-binary characters. And she has like whole species in her series that use neo-pronouns. So they're like Zer.
Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah.
And then there's other species that can change male to female depending on like the season or what stage in life they're in. And I just love all the characters. Like it centers on this crew of this one ship that they kind of do like this underground work where they're like they do this work where they punch through like the space-time continuum. So they're kind of like a crew for hire that way. And the captain, it's kind of like Firefly, if any of you guys have watched that show.
Oh, that is a classic.
Yeah. So, but there's more like LGBT stuff in it, and yeah, I just love her imagination, like picturing all the different species she comes up with, and like there's like this ongoing war kind of happening in the background of her series. So there's like this one really violent, like horrible species that is always like antagonizing the other planets. But the main character in this is a human, and she, it's her like storyline adjusting to like living in space and getting to know these other characters on the ship. And yeah, I just love like hearing about all the descriptions of their life on the ship and the different species. I keep saying, but that is like my favorite part. And there's like interspecies relationships with like the not animals, but like the humans and like other alien species.
I see. Yeah.
Which is interesting. It's not like it's not graphic or anything, but yeah, I love all her books. I think she's an amazing writer. She has amazing imagination. So yeah.
That kind of reminds me of two sci-fi kind of books that I've read. The Striker X series by Negus Lamont, which is a really great independent sci-fi series. And also the book The Dark That Dwells by husband and wife author duo Matt Digman and Ryan Roddy. I'll link all of everything that we talk about and all of the things that I mentioned in the description section down below, so you can find Negus on Instagram. You can find Matt and Ryan on Instagram, on YouTube. They've got an AuthorTube channel where they do a really great series called Doctoring the Book, because they're both doctors in their full-time professions.
Oh my god, that's so interesting. I love that.
Yeah. So it kind of reminds me of both of those. So I am definitely very intrigued.
Yeah, I think you'd like it.
Absolutely. Oh, that is a good one. Presumably about the book that you just talked about?
Yeah.
For you and Nikki seem to have a lot in common. Yeah. And then, I am loving this chat and I don't want to leave, but I have to run out the door. Emily, how do I find you and support you on your platforms? With a heart eye emoji.
Thank you.
Nikki, all of Emily's social media and such will be in the description section once this live stream is archived on YouTube. So if you come back to the stream at a later date to finish watching it, you'll find all of her information in the description section down below.
Thank you.
Yeah. Unholy Triforce here raises hand as a proud Firefly plan. As a proud Firefly. I cannot speak. As a proud Firefly fan and owner of the series on DVD, Firefly is fantastic and a criminally underrated TV series.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It was great.
Okay, I'll come back and find it then, hon. Heart eye emojis.
Thanks for coming out.
Thanks for coming out, Nikki. Love you. Alrighty, so my number 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is a book that I first read, I think, in June. And then I reread it for my current favorite section of my TBR this month because it just grabbed me in such a way that very few books do. And that is These Violent Delights by Micah Never Ever. And first of all, let's talk about this cover. Holy shit, this cover is beautiful.
I love that name, Never Ever.
Yeah, apologies for just cursing, but it is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is a book about two university students in the 1970s named Paul and Julian, and they meet on like the first day of classes, and they both kind of see each other as the other's intellectual equal, and they kind of like wall themselves off from their families and from other people, and it's a really like dark and intense story, and it becomes a very like toxic, possessive story. It's got like jealousy and revenge and obsession and like lust and intimacy and oh god, it's so good.
It sounds so good.
It is so good, and it's, as the title would suggest, it is full of absolutely unspeakable violence.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is definitely a book that is a new all-time favorite of mine, but for a good reason. And Micah Nemerever's writing is absolutely phenomenal. It's kind of like V.E. Schwab meets Donna Tartt.
Oh, crazy.
Yes. So this is definitely one of my highest recommendations. It's number 4 for a reason. So absolutely love that book.
I can't wait to read it.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it on a website and send it to you for your birthday or something.
Oh, no, you don't have to.
No, I would want to.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Nikki, love you. Thanks for the fun with a heart. Love you too, Nikki. You're amazing. I am so ashamed as a self-proclaimed avid reader because I'm only on my 2nd book of the month and Matthew was on his 17th, I think. Wasn't it, Matthew? It was my 19th, but yes, I've been reading a lot this month.
But still, 2nd book is pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. As I told you, my friend, it's not the quantity, but the quality.
Yeah.
And what I've read that I've enjoyed, I've absolutely loved this month. But what I've read that I haven't enjoyed has been absolutely brutal to try and get through. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Not fun.
I loved it. I was telling you in our DMs, I love the idea of rereading some of your favorites for your birthday month as like a treat yourself type of thing. That's really nice.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly why I did it. Yeah, for sure.
So, number 3, we arranged to have
the same book. Yes. The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. And this is a book that Emily recommended to me initially, and I read this in 3.5 or 4 hours the first time I read it because I could not put it down.
Yeah.
So Emily, I'll let you take point on this one. Tell us about the Song of Achilles.
Yeah, so this is Madeline Miller's first novel, her debut novel. She since has a 2nd novel out, and she's working on her 3rd, which I cannot wait for.
I know, me neither. I'm so excited.
So it's kind of like a retelling of the Iliad, but it's more like it took some of the Iliad and expanded on it and made a whole world out of the characters. So obviously, it's about Achilles, but it's from the point of view of his companion, Patroclus. And it starts off from Patroclus's banishment from his kingdom, and then he goes to stay with these other reject boys in Achilles' kingdom, and they meet and become friends from there, and much more.
Yes. Yes.
And what I love about this book, other than how romantic and angsty it is just that it's Greek mythology, but with an original take on it, and it's not all musty like the classics read, like the
absolutely, yeah.
And the characters feel very realistic.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of people lately really hate Achilles, his character in this.
Wait, what?
Yeah. There's a section of the fandom that's they love Patroclus, but fuck Achilles.
What the hell?
Yeah. I guess because he's kind of bratty.
I didn't get that at all.
Oh.
I mean, privileged, yes. But bratty, I don't think so.
No. I think he starts kind of acting out when he gets called to his prophecy, and he's just the reluctant hero. But I love that about them, but I guess some readers really didn't like that.
Yeah. And again, I just recently reread this as well as part of my favorites portion of my TBR.
It's so good.
It is so good. And we've actually reviewed this. We met down in Toronto some 3 years ago now, and recorded a review in a restaurant.
Yeah.
While we were just after we had lunch together.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so much fun to film that. So I'll link that in the description section. The amount of things I'm going to be linking in this description section, I swear to God.
You're going to be busy.
I'm going to have to go back through the stream and then just pause when I mention something or you mention something and add it and then watch, pause, add, watch, pause, add, da 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 da.
So are you a paperback or a hardcover fan?
Hardcover usually.
Yeah. So I prefer hardcovers as well, and I was searching high and low to get the hardcover of this. It's nowhere to be found.
Oh God, that's awful.
But yeah. Also, I think we both enjoyed Madeline's second novel. It's not LGBT like this one is, but still like Greek mythology, like come to life with like her way of characterizing the figures from Greek mythology is just so fascinating. And
yeah,
I've been into that since I was a little kid, so like I'm all over it.
But... yeah, absolutely. But the Song of Achilles is so like bold and sweeping and epic and swooningly romantic, and it is one of the best pieces of literature I've ever read. Point blank.
Oh, it's high praise.
Absolutely. Unholy Triforce here. Yeah, you did say that, my friend, about the quality over quantity. I read How Stella Got Her Groove Back by Terry McMillan, which I totally fell in love with, and now I'm reading Beaches 2, I'll Be There by Iris Rayner Dart.
Sounds like a romance fan.
Beaches 2 is a sequel to her novel Beaches, which was made into a film of the same name in 1988, starring Bette Midler and Barbara Hershey, and then again in 2016 with Idina Menzel and Nia Long. Fascinating.
I think I've heard of that.
Unholy Triforce always knows like the trivia and history of like film and music and stuff, and it's like awesome. I love talking with them so much.
Yeah. I started reading Song of Achilles, so I was holding it.
Oh my goodness. All right.
Shall we go on?
Yeah, anything else that you want to say about the Song of Achilles?
Just since the moment I started it became like one of my most favorite books, and
same.
Love that experience.
Like as soon as I got to that first line, I think my father was king and the son of kings. It was just like, oh yes. And then the lyricism of Madeline Miller's writing. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And then the LGBTQ plus elements basically had me squealing like a little fanboy.
I know, it was so romantic and perfect.
I know. Oh my God. I still do not like that princess whatever character.
Oh yeah, I hate that part.
Makes me so mad.
Yeah.
And if you read the book, you'll find out exactly what we're talking about. But yeah. So yeah, go ahead, Emily.
Okay. Number 2.
We're getting through this in excellent time, which is not usual for us.
I know. Okay, so my number 2 pick is Oryx and Craig by Margaret Atwood.
Ooh. Margaret Atwood, I definitely know, but only The Handmaid's Tale, so.
Oh, okay. So this one is signed by she herself.
Love that. Did you meet her, or was it just...
Oh,
nice.
I've gone to her talks twice now, and I got my book signed the first time.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and I acted really stupid, and she wouldn't look at anyone. Like, she just looked down the whole time.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Then.
She would only look up if you took pictures with her. She would like look up and smile for the picture, and then like look back down.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, she's a genius, so it's fine. So Oryx and Craig, this book came out when I was in high school, and I picked it up at that time, and I've had this copy since then. And this is also a series. It's a trilogy, and I love the whole trilogy. It's amazing, but it does change a little bit where this book is centered on a trio of characters that aren't really in the following 2 books. One of them is a little bit, but anyway. So the main character in this, it opens on, is named Snowman. His real name is Jimmy, and he is a survivor at the end of the world. So he is wandering around in a like tablecloth because all his clothes have burned off, and it's there's not many other humans around. And he gets found by this group of human beings. This is so hard to explain, but without like giving a ton of spoilers. But they're like synthesized humans, and they're very primitive. And then the story is told. Margaret Atwood has this style in a lot of her books where she tells like a chapter happening in the present and then a flashback chapter, and then it like switches back and forth. So it's like slowly unfolding what happened in the present chapters. And so Jimmy, Snowman, his flashbacks are about what the world was like before the apocalypse, basically, and he befriends this guy who his online name is Craig.
Okay.
And he's an autistic like computer genius.
All right, love the autistic rap.
Yeah, and he plays these computer games with Jimmy, and then they both kind of fall for this young woman when they grow up, and like you learn her backstory. She has this tragic backstory. She's Oryx, and I don't know what all I should explain, but it's so fascinating. And Margaret Atwood actually is kind of famous for how she has predicted things.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've heard of this. So
yeah.
One of the things in here, this is very like specific, but she predicted like lab grown meat. And there's like this meat that you can get at fast food places called like chicky knobs. And it's chicken that's grown in like a tree in the lab. So it's like the meat itself is just, and that is now a thing. Like this came out like 20 years ago, and as of like 2 years ago, that became reality.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So she's just such a genius, and like the characters are so interesting. I love this book so much, and like the sequels are really good. There's some culty stuff in the sequels, so I love that, and that influenced my book as well a bit. It's like an eco cult in the sequel. And yeah, it's tragic and dark, but it's like dystopian. It's not, she says it's not sci-fi, it's speculative fiction.
Pretty accurate for speculative fiction.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just incredible. Definitely will get your mind thinking on some things.
Yeah, which a lot of Margaret Atwood's books tend to do. Like, I've only read The Handmaid's Tale myself, but even that was startling and terrifying and somewhat realistic and just really, like, provocative and thought-provoking, so for sure. Also made into a really good television series for Hulu / FX or Showcase, whatever network airs it in Canada, I can't remember.
And this series also has been optioned to be made into a TV show like several years ago, but I don't think it has gone into production. Like they haven't actually filmed it.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So that's that.
So Unholy Triforce says here, well, I wouldn't necessarily call Terry McMillan's writing romance because while there is a romance going on in Stella, it's really a semi-autobiographical novel about the author finding herself. Noted.
I've heard of that author. I listened to like a whole podcast about her because she like sued her ex-husband that she wrote that book about. Stella got her groove back, where she like met this young man while on vacation, and then like after she married him, she was like cheating with another man or something. I can't remember all the details.
Okay. And then the Beaches novels aren't romance in a traditional sense, but more the romance of a lifelong friendship that survives even death. Fascinating. Okay. Good to know.
Mm-hmm.
Now for my number 2 pick. And if you've been following my channel for a while, or following my Instagram even, this will come as no surprise to you whatsoever. And that is History is All You Left Me by Adam Silvera. This is an LGBTQ plus YA contemporary about a boy named Griffin who deals with OCD, which I personally have myself. So I really connected on that level, and also on the whole being gay level. But you knew that already when I said LGBTQ. Anyway, but Griffin also has to deal with the fact that his ex-boyfriend slash best friend, Theo, passed away in a drowning accident while he was away at school in California. And so basically, this story is told in terms of the history of Griffin and Theo and the present, where he's being forced to go on in life without Theo, and he finds kind of a kinship with Theo's current boyfriend from California named Jackson. And it is so heartbreakingly tragic. All of Adam Silvera's books have made me cry, but it's so beautifully, wonderfully done. And oh god, I love so much about this book, and I can feel myself starting to get emotional. So I'm gonna put it down now and try to avoid becoming a mess on live stream again.
Sounds like a lot of complex feelings in that story.
For sure, and Adam Silvera is just brilliant. He's like my second favorite author of all time. So I definitely recommend any and every of his books, for sure.
Yeah.
But that one in particular means a lot to me because I first read it around the time that I lost my grandmother, who dealt with Alzheimer's for a number of years before she ultimately passed. So I read this about maybe a couple of weeks to a month after her death. So I was raw on that level. And then the OCD rep is, speaking as someone who has OCD myself, is some of the most raw and honest and thoughtful OCD rep I've ever read. So I love all of Adam Silvera's books, but this one in particular is and always will be my favorite. So yeah.
Awesome.
And dun da da da, we have reached number 1. So Emily, start us off. Your number 1 favorite book of all time.
We already talked about it a bit.
Okay.
Not much of a surprise, but so I picked this one not because it's my favorite writing or favorite characters or anything, but because this book had such a formative impact on me. I read this when I was like 15. And this is a really old, like dirty, used copy, but I absolutely love it. And kind of, I love the story behind how I got this too. Is I used to live in a small town when I was in high school, and the local library there would put out a box of books that they didn't want anymore. And I never had any money because I like never had a job for more than like 3 months. I didn't get allowance or anything, so I used to like swing by that box every week and see what I could grab out of there. And this was one of the ones I picked up.
Love that.
Yeah, and I remember just being so affected by the story. Like I literally would have dreams about it.
Yeah. It's definitely a really like I said, powerful and startling and horrifying, but ingenious story for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the ones I read back in high school myself.
Oh, was it like part of your curriculum, or you just read it
Yes.
for fun?
Hmm.
Oh, okay. So you went to public school, right? Or you went to
I went to Catholic school.
What the heck? Okay, I went to Catholic school too, and I remember specifically in grade 12 we got like an essay assignment, and there was 2 Margaret Atwood books on the list from books you could pick, and they were scratched out. And I like stepped to my teacher and I was like, "Why are these books taken off the list? Because I have these and I want to read them for this stupid assignment." She was like, "I don't know, like they removed it from the curriculum." And I was like, "Oh my god, it's stupid Catholic school." So I guess they put it back on, but
Yeah. I'm
yeah.
honestly surprised they did, considering the content of the story being like this
Yeah.
totalitarian Christian.
It's like
thing.
about religious extremists
Hmm.
using like the excuse for religion to abuse people.
Yeah.
So I actually find the show really traumatizing.
Yes, agreed.
Like I stopped watching it actually in the 2nd season early on.
Hmm.
I find the show more traumatizing than the book. Like I had a nightmare about it and stuff. So I was like, I don't know if I can handle this.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm sure everyone's heard of this book by now, but it's told in like a journal format,
Hmm.
which I found really immersive, but it also like leaves some things up to the imagination, and the ending of the book, unlike the series on Hulu, is a cliffhanger.
Hmm.
So yeah, I would say this is why I picked my number 1, because just whenever I think of like the book that's had the biggest impact on me, is definitely this one.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And Unholy Triforce here. Also, I had no idea there was a lawsuit or anything. I only discovered Terry McMillan after having seen Waiting to Exhale, sorry, which was based on her novel, and then reading that. I have research to do. Yes, you do, my friend. And I know you love your research, so have fun with that. But okay, so my number 1 pick and the last book that we have to talk about tonight. I picked it for a pretty similar reason to you, because whenever I think about the books that have had, the most impact on me, this is one that I always come back to, and I reread this at least once a year.
Mm-hmm.
And that is The Book Thief
yes.
by Marcus Zusak.
Mm-hmm.
This is the 10th anniversary hardcover, which is just gorgeous. I love it.
Oh, it's already 10 years old?
It was released in 2006, so it's way over 10 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought it came out in 2012-ish. Whatever.
Oh, wow.
I think that's when I read it.
I see, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this book has been around for a while, so I think a lot of people will know this and know the story. But I initially read this when I was 12.
Oh.
And I was and am very interested in the time period that this novel is set in.
Mm-hmm.
And everything about this book just ensnared me so completely that I literally read it all throughout like the evening after I got home from the bookstore after buying the book. And then I got into bed, and I should have been sleeping, but I turned on a light and read this under my covers. And I stayed up all night until I was finished. And it packs such a wallop. Like, it is
Mm-hmm.
a devastating, poignant, important story. And everything from the scope to the choice of the metaphorical Grim Reaper as the narrator,
Mm-hmm.
to like the memorable characters like Liesel Meminger and Rudy Steiner and Hans Huberman and Rosa Huberman, and just everything that happens in this book. Oh God, I love it. I love it so much, and like I've seen a lot of people complain about the fact that this book should be retired from the bestseller lists, and
Why?
I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm like. I'm like, why? Because it's so good, and it's like, it's such an important story, and like, this is the kind of story I wish was in my high school curriculum,
Hmm.
but as it was, I just happened to read this when I was in like 7th grade. But yeah, definitely a very formative book for me, and one that I still enjoy reading even to this day. Uh, I think I wrote in my review on Goodreads that very few books can truly be called a masterpiece. This
Hmm.
is one of them, for sure. And we're done.
Have you read many other books from like World War II fiction?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've read one nonfiction book that was called Survivors. I don't have a copy of that anymore,
Hmm.
but it was a collection of stories told by people who survived the Holocaust.
Hmm.
And then I read The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, obviously, and seen the film. And I've
Hmm.
obviously seen the film of The Book Thief as well. They
Oh, I
made it,
haven't seen that.
they made it into a film in 2013, which is
Hmm.
really good, starring French Canadian actress Sophie Nélisse in the lead role,
Oh yeah.
which I thought that was really cool. The Canadian connection to the adaptation of my favorite book.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was I even saying? I completely get.
I asked you what other World War II fiction books you had.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've read The Boy in the Striped Pajamas and seen the film of that, which is so devastating, both the book and the film. I don't know
Hmm.
if you've ever read it.
No, I haven't.
Oh my god, so good, but so sad.
Yeah, I haven't read a lot because I do find it really, really sad, and
Mhm.
same with the films. But a book I was looking at, kind of like maybe as an honorable mention,
Mhm.
but I passed over it. I'm wondering if you read All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr.
Not yet, but it is on my list to buy.
Oh my God, it's really good. I got obviously when my mom was still here, I got her to read it, and then she got her husband to read it. And when I was telling her about it, she's like, I don't really like World War books because it's too sad. I was like, I'm the same, but like this book is amazing.
Yeah.
And it won the Pulitzer Prize, so that should tell you something about the quality of it.
For sure. And I mean, I've read a couple of Pulitzer and Nobel Prize winning books
Hmm.
now, so I know anything that's that regarded is typically going to be very good.
Hmm.
So I'll definitely have to read that at some point very soon.
Yeah.
And
Did you
then
have any? Oh, sorry. Did you want to bring up any more?
first, I want to bring up this comment from Unholy Triforce, who knows me so well. I knew it would either be The Book Thief or The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, knowing Matthew. Although I think The Wizard of Oz is more your favorite film than it is your favorite book, right? Indeed, it is. The Wizard of Oz is my favorite film of all time ever. Judy Garland is iconic, and that entire movie is just magical. And I first watched it when I was 4, and I've been obsessed with it ever since.
You weren't scared of it when you were 4?
No, not at all. Well, to be fair, The Wicked Witch of the West did scare me.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is like a lot of kids find that
But the rest,
witch scary.
but the rest of it, yeah. And what's actually interesting is that Margaret Hamilton, the actress who played the Wicked Witch, she would basically tell, like, because she was a school teacher in addition to an actress, I think. And a lot of the kids would be scared of her. So she ended up going on Mr. Rogers and explaining that what she did in the film was acting, and she put on the costume, and and showed the kids. And I remember watching that episode when it was on in syndication, and I'm like, oh my god, it's the Wicked Witch from the Wizard of Oz.
Mhm.
But yeah, yes, I grew up with Mr. Rogers and all of that stuff too. So
Yeah.
and I had the Wizard of Oz on VHS back in the day. I am just barely old enough to remember VHS and
Yeah.
cassette
Mhm.
because I just turned 25. So
Mhm.
yeah. But Unholy Triforce, you are absolutely right, as per usual.
Yeah. I knew that was going to be your number one pick. That's what I was expecting.
Did you finish the book, Beef, or?
Yep.
Okay, good.
I wish I could remember more of it. Like I remember the beginning and end really clearly, but
yeah.
Maybe
we should reread it at some point
reread
together.
it. Yeah, I know a lot of people in your generation. It's a lot of your favorite book.
And for good reason. If you ever read the book, it's just so ambitious and well crafted. For sure. Absolutely.
Did you have any other honorable mentions, like other books you passed over that almost made in top 10 but didn't quite?
Oh God. One of them was All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson, which is a nonfiction book. And I don't typically read a lot of nonfiction, but I do make certain exceptions, and that was one of them. And I found it just really powerful. Like, it's all about George's experiences growing up, and like it covers from their childhood to their adulthood and everything in between. And it's just a really wise and really honest book. And they've got another book coming out in September that I pre-ordered and I'm really, really excited about. And then what I can't really think of anyone else that I know there were a couple more that I was kind of like, okay, I do kind of want to include these, but if I do any more than 10, Emily will not be very happy with me. But yeah, I can't remember them right now, but yeah, for sure. That one in particular, I do remember.
Yeah, there's a couple middle grade books that I was considering that were my favorite middle grade.
Yeah, like that was another one. I did want to include an Eric Walters book in here because, as you know, Eric Walters is my favorite author of all time. But between I'm just like, I could never pick my favorite Eric Walters book. It is like,
oh no,
it's like picking between like a favorite child. It's impossible.
Yeah,
and all of his books are just so good. Whether they're YA or middle grade. So yeah, definitely check out Eric Walters if you haven't already. He is a Canadian treasure.
Yeah, I need to.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's another thing about Margaret Atwood is that she is Canadian as well. Yeah.
Although I do think a lot of people know that, but just in case you didn't, there you go.
She's written a really good historical novel called Alias Grace. That's about like female criminal who got charged with murder and hanged. Back in the early days of Canada.
Wow. That's bold.
But yeah.
But then again, this is Margaret Atwood we're talking about.
Yeah. I love all her books. But yeah. Something I wanted to bring up about Donna Tartt. I was going to ask if you knew this about her. That when she was shopping her debut novel around, publishers actually got in a bidding war over her.
No, I did not actually.
which is pretty rare, but
Yeah.
I was like, oh, she's such a genius.
Yeah.
She's so cool.
Uh-huh.
And she dated another famous writer when they were both in college. God damn it. Which one was it? I'll Google it quickly.
Oh yeah. Another one that I just thought of, I did mention it a bit earlier when I was talking about Monster, but I did want to include The Hate You Give in here because that book is freaking fantastic and so important, especially given everything that's happened over the last couple of years. It might be even more relevant now than it was back when it was released in 2015. And then Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli was another one. I love that book and I love the film. Love Simon. Oh God.
Oh, was it I didn't know that it got made into a movie.
Yeah, they made it into a movie and then they did kind of like a TV series called Love Victor, which I also love, which you can watch on Disney Plus if you have that. Which I have watched it on Disney Plus, obviously, because I was waiting for like a year and a half for it to get off Hulu exclusively and be available in Canada. But then after they did the film, they did this series, and it's also really fantastic as well.
Bret Easton Ellis, that's the author she dated in college.
Okay, I know the name, but I don't know any of the books.
I believe he wrote American Psycho.
Okay, yep.
Yeah. Which I also read and I did not like it.
Yeah. I mean, like, I went back and reread, like I said, I've been reading or rereading books that were important and significant to me throughout the first 24 years of my life for this month. And almost all of the books in the high school portion, so like The Outsiders, which I did enjoy the reread. There are some problematic elements that I won't get into because we don't have time for that. We don't have time to go into depth about how antiquated some of the values in that and behaviors in that book are. But like Lord of the Flies, which I know you were shocked. But when I reread Lord of the Flies, I'm like, I remember loving this, and I still loved the story, so I managed to push through it. But my God, it is so dense, it's almost unreadable. And then, like, what was the other one? Feed by M.T. Anderson, which I read in my 12th grade creative writing class. Which is the only creative writing course I've ever really taken. So
I took that too.
Yeah. And I had to do like a script of a scene in that novel. And I remember really liking that book as well. But when I reread it, I still enjoyed the story. But it was so... like, the way that it's written is so weird. And the way that the characters speak is so weird, and by like page 22 I had a headache, and by page 33 I DNF'd it.
I listened to the audiobook of that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Oh God, just the way that it's like, this is so null unit and blah 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 blah. I'm like, like I did not find this that agitating in high school, but good God, this is driving me crazy. But I still do like the concept of the story, so yeah. And
go ahead.
Anything else you want to add before we sign off, or?
I was just gonna say my favorites from the middle grade stuff were A Wrinkle in Time
by Madeline L'Engle, I think. Yeah. They recently made that into a really bad movie that I know of.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. I didn't even watch the trailer because I didn't want it to like mess up my image of the book.
Good decision.
And
That
then
movie is terrible.
did you watch it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
I did not like it at all.
And I was a big fan of Roald Dahl as a child.
Mm-hmm.
So probably my favorite book by him is not one of the most well known. It's Danny, the Champion of the World.
Okay, I know that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I reread that not recently, but like 3 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and still loved it. I love Charlie and Chocolate Factory as well.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me growing up, I was into, obviously, my generation was really into Robert Munsch. So my mom read me a lot of Robert Munsch when I was like a really small child.
Oh yeah, we had a bunch of his books as well.
Yeah, I loved Aaron's Hair in particular.
Oh, I don't remember that one.
Oh, yeah, that one was my favorite. And then as I got a little bit older, I started reading the Goosebumps books by R.L. Stine, which are iconic. And then when I was 7, I started reading Eric Walters and Gordon Corman, who are not only two of my favorite authors, and just two authors that I think everyone should read, but two of my biggest influences as a writer too, particularly Eric Walters. I mean, to be that prolific and that consistently excellent at your craft, because he's written over 100 books.
Oh my god. I can't imagine.
And it is my goal to get every single one of them onto my shelf.
Oh, that's a lot of shelf space.
Yep.
You're going to have like a whole shelving unit dedicated to him.
Of Eric Walters. Yeah, that's the idea. And then everything else.
Yeah.
And then, like I mentioned, I did read a lot of manga when I was in high school as well.
Same.
Like, I love to this day Full Metal Alchemist, both the manga and the anime. I loved Death Note.
Yep.
I loved, obviously, I grew up on anime, so Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, Beyblade, Sailor Moon, all of that.
Did you ever get Shonen Jump?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was allowed. I only ever bought free issues, and that's because my parents didn't want to pay for a subscription. So I would go to Chapters once every like 2 or 3 months and buy books, and occasionally I would get a Shonen Jump thing.
Yeah, I had a few of those too.
And then they always had like the commercials for it on the anime VHSs, especially like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sailor Moon in particular is the only anime that my sister and I ever watched together, so that means a lot to me. Because she doesn't really like anime.
Oh, no.
Although I've tried to get her into it, but...
too bad.
Doesn't like anime, doesn't like J-pop. I'm like alone in my interests.
Are you twins or not?
We're fraternal twins, yes.
Yeah.
Unholy Triforce, you had 1 DNF this month, and that was a big deal. Yeah. I don't like DNFing books as a general practice, but this one had to be done. And I felt the same way about The Nightingale by Kristin Hanna.
Oh my god, really? You DNF'd that?
At around 350 pages, yes.
Wow.
I could not get into it. I wanted to love it so badly.
Oh, I thought that was amazing.
I know you did.
I cried at the ending.
The first Instagram post I ever made where I showed my copy of The Nightingale at that time, I've since unhauled it. But you were like, oh my god, this made me cry. And I'm like, oh god, I can't wait for this because I've heard so much about it. And then now Emily's saying she likes it. And then I'm just like, I kept waiting for something to happen that made me want to read more. And then by like 350 pages, I'm like, I've guessed what's going to happen most of the time. The emotion that a lot of people are feeling from that book just felt kind of contrived to me. Because it was like, if I could guess everything that was going to happen, then all of the emotional impact of the book just fell away.
Yeah.
And without that emotional impact, I couldn't get the writing. And then, like, Kristin Hanna's writing style is like so like flowery,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just not really my thing. I do want to give another one of her books a try, but I'm kind of scared at the same time.
Yeah, I read another one of her books, The Great Alone, I think it's called. Yeah.
And then she's got another new one that just came out recently called The Four Winds or something.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's very popular on Goodreads, but yeah. A Wrinkle in Time is such a good book. Yes. Agreed.
There was one part that I was shocked by, though, when I reread it as an adult, where the like youngest kid in it says that it's like someone asks him who he would want to meet, and he says Jesus. I was like, oh, there's a religious agenda in this series. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's amazing the things that you'll notice as an adult when you rewatch things that when you rewatch or reread something that you watched for the first time as a child.
Yeah.
I liked the 2003 adaptation of the novel, but the Disney one is horrible. Yes, my friend.
I haven't seen either.
I watched it on Netflix and I was just so put off on it, and I just hated it so much because it's just so wrong. Exactly my thoughts. You summed it up. You took the words right out of my mouth. Absolutely.
That's one of those books where like it's very clear in my mind like what everything looked like. So I don't want it to be messed up by the film.
Yeah, for sure. And trust me, if you ever watch the film, it will be messed up. I can guarantee you.
Yeah.
I've only read one Kristin Hanna novel, On Mystic Lake, and yes, it was very flowery. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of people recommend me her books.
Yeah, easy to see why. But at the same time, like I said, if I didn't like The Nightingale, which is like the one book that I thought I was gonna like from her, then I'm so apprehensive. I don't know which one I should choose next, or if I should even attempt the second book.
Yeah.
The other author that I really want to read is kind of similar to Anthony Doerr, but it's Emily St. James Mandel. You know her books at all?
Yeah, I read Station 11 a number of years ago.
Any good?
I found it boring, but like every time I hear about it, I'm like, this sounds like something I would love. So I need to go back and reread it. I listened to it while I was at work, so maybe I just like zoned out and I missed a bunch of stuff in it. But
yeah.
I found it really slow and like not interesting.
Okay, noted.
How about you?
I haven't read anything from her yet, so that's why I really want to, because she seems like she will be right up my alley as far as an author that I will stand. But and I also really love Erin Morgenstern's books for a lot of the same reasons.
I just started thinking about her too.
Yeah, I loved The Night Circus when I read it, and I loved The Starless Sea. I know a lot of people didn't like The Starless Sea, but yeah. There's just something about Erin Morgenstern's books that are just magical, and her writing is so lyrical, and like I can really picture it in my head.
I DNF'd The Night Circus like 60 pages in.
Wow.
Yeah, I hated it.
Why?
I just hated how vague the beginning is and how she's just like beating you over the head with like how mysterious this stupid circus tent is. And it's like, give me some freaking information.
You do eventually get the information though.
I know. I should have just skipped ahead, but I was just like, nope.
Yeah. Is that a book you think you'll ever try to reread at some point, or?
I should, but it's not on my priority list right now. There's just too many books.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
I've already got pre-orders well into 2022.
Oh, really? Yeah, I have one or two as well, actually. Yeah.
So, yeah. And then obviously whenever the next Heartstopper volume comes out in print, I'm going to be getting the hardcover copy of that too.
Oh, nice.
Which I'm so excited about. Like I said, I love that series so much. Oh my god.
Yeah, I haven't picked those up yet. I just was reading the comic online. I think the thing I love the most about that comic is I don't remember their names now, but the like blonde guy.
Uh,
How
Nick.
yeah, how he's like he's like a jock, but not in a stereotypical way, like that he's just like
Yeah.
into sports, and then he's just so gentle and kind, and like he's not embarrassed of his relationship or anything, and
Not at all. Yeah.
I love that about him.
You will love a book that I just finished this past month called Invisible Boys. You
Oh
will
yeah,
love that.
yeah.
Buy it on Book Depository because it's from an Australian author named Holden Shepherd. That was
Mhm.
also one that I wanted to put in here, but it's been a bit too recent
Okay.
for me
Mhm.
because I love that book so much, like it made me cry. But yeah, it is incredible. I think you'll really like it.
Just seeing if my library has it. They don't.
Yeah, like I said, it's an Australian book. So if you go on Book Depository, they have it is pretty expensive. I think it was like $20 for the paperback. But that's because it's an Australian book and it's the other side of the world and yada yada yada.
Yeah.
So it's definitely worth picking up though, for sure.
And we have a book on the docket that we're gonna read together.
Yes, we do.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So when did you, well, we can talk about this off air, but
which book did we say we were going to read together again? I can't remember what it was. Now that you mentioned it, I do know that we had.
It's in my Audible wish list. God damn it! It's an English-Japanese author.
Oh, Kazuo Ishiguro.
Yes.
Clara and the Sun. Yes. Okay, now I remember this. Yeah. For a second, I couldn't remember the book. I'm like, yes, I know we planned this, but I can't remember what we planned to read. But yeah.
I actually went to like a online like webinar with him. He did a speech through some university, like the University of Calgary or something. And yeah, I actually got to like chat with him.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I was asking him about Japan and like his books being published there because he mentioned that. And he's talking about how he's like a foreigner in Japan and his books are seen as like a foreigners. Yeah. Like he tried to write about Japan. He said like he's seen as like the foreigner's perspective of Japan.
Yeah, almost like how one of our favorite musical artists, Crystal Kay, is kind of considered a foreigner in Japan, I guess.
Even Utada is sometimes too.
Yeah, because they were born in the U.S., right?
Yeah. So, But yeah, I really love Never Let Me Go by him.
I still need to read it. So Clara and the Sun's the first book that I'll be reading from him.
Okay, yeah.
And then I'll probably pick that one up because that's the one that won him the Nobel Prize.
Oh, okay, yeah. I like the film too.
It's a film?
Never Let Me Go is.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah, I actually saw the movie first, and then I saw like in the credits it was based on a book. I was like, oh, I need to read the book now.
Yeah, I definitely want to read more Japanese literature in 2022 for sure. I don't know if I'm gonna get to it this year because I've just got so many books coming that I've pre-ordered, and my shelves are already full enough as it is.
Yeah.
So
that's why some of my books are in storage because I just ran out of shelf space.
Yeah. Which is why unhauling those 4 boxes of books to get that used credit at my favorite used bookstore, it was so satisfying. And then I immediately filled the shelf space with the new books that I bought. It's a never-ending conundrum. So many books, so little shelf space.
Yeah.
Unholy Triforce says Hickey was born in New York City, so I imagine they felt like a bit of an outsider in Japan at times. Yeah. Again, this live stream was not about Japanese music, although that's normally what we do most of our stuff related to, but Yeah, and one of these days we will review more concerts and more stuff. But yeah.
Yes.
And we were talking about reviewing the Aaliyah albums and the Nina Gordon albums together too. So music is going to definitely be a part of this channel going forward. So it's going to be books and writing and film and music and
So you're
all
gonna bring J-pop back or on the
J-pop,
channel, or just Western music?
J-pop is coming back on the channel too. Absolutely.
Oh, great.
Yeah. I might just do the reviews with you if that's okay. Like,
Yeah.
we can pick an album to review, because I've
Mhm.
often found that when I used to film reviews on my own, as you remember, it used to be like I would like lose my thoughts really easily, and then I would get mad at myself because I'd have to restart
Yeah.
my filming, because I would be like, I can't edit to save my life. I still can't.
It is really hard to just talk to yourself.
Yeah. And it's just like so awkward.
Yeah.
So I like this format a lot better. And then obviously I was using the iPad to film my book haul, but that turned really awkward too. So I've just been filming on my phone and using my voice.
Right, yeah. But that works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then obviously it's not like I'm afraid to show my face. Obviously I do lives often enough as it is. But I definitely feel more comfortable just using my voice when I film my videos nowadays, as opposed to being on camera, because it's like, oh god, like I like sometimes I'll be sweating, or I'll be in pajamas or something, right?
Yeah.
Like when I was filming my J-pop collection video, I was in my pajamas at like 1:00 in the morning.
Perfect.
Yeah. So the ultra glamorous life of the YouTuber.
Yeah, usually when I'm filming my unboxing videos, I like end up cutting out parts where I like flip the CDs over, and then you can see me in the reflection. And I'm like, same, like in my pajamas, like haven't showered yet or anything. I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah, and speaking of YouTube, by the way, I did want to bring up one other thing, because it happened. You crossed 2,000 subscribers. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
You've been on YouTube for like, what is it? Almost 9 years. Yeah, and I've known of you all 9 of those years, and I've known you personally for like 6 of those years.
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy to think about how long you've been on it, and you have been J-pop YouTube's very definition of a J-pop queen. So
thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think LV was the J-pop queen, but
yeah, LV is so missed. She was so wonderful.
Oh,
Oh,
thank
Emily,
you.
congrats! That's so wonderful.
Thank you, Unholy Triforce.
Yeah. So with that, I have an early morning to get to, so I think we should probably wrap this up.
Yeah.
We did manage to keep this relatively well timed. It's not like a 3 or 4 hour discussion.
Yeah. Yeah, we did good.
Yeah, we did good, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. And
yeah, I had a really good time.
Yeah, I'll be back.
It's fun to just show each other our books.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I'll be back on your channel at some point, and I know I'll have a reason to invite you back, and
yeah,
we'll obviously still be talking and stuff on Twitter and Instagram and all of that, and we'll meet each other again when we go and see Rena live in concert, which that's gonna come so quickly. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I cannot wait for that. But yeah. Thank you to everyone who came out. Thank you to Nikki, and thank you to Unholy Triforce, who has stayed throughout this entire stream.
Thanks for your support.
Yeah, Unholy Triforce here. Thank you both so much. All of this was a lot of fun and laughs. I'm so glad. And I have Kingdom Hearts free that should hopefully be finished installing on my Xbox One right now. So
yes.
I might go and start that, but thank you again to everyone who came out. hope you guys have enjoyed this. And if you're watching this later, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this after the fact. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this as well. And Emily, thank you again for agreeing to do this and for being such a great guest / co-host.
Oh, thank you for inviting me on. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And
right,
if you guys want to see more Matthew, he's on my channel as well.
Yes.
So check those out.
For sure. I'll have links to all of our live streams.
More links.
More links. I'm gonna have literally I'm gonna have to rewatch this entire stream as I'm putting the links in. Love to both of you with a smiley face.
Let's do a K-pop heart.
I can't really do that. I don't do.
Oh.
There we go.
There you go.
That's as close as you're getting. There you go. All right, guys. This has been fun. I'll see you all in the next video. Emily, do you have anything coming up video-wise that you want to talk about?
Yeah, so I think we talked about it with Unholy Triforce on our last live stream on my channel, but I have been preparing my notes for my Utada reviews.
Excellent.
So I'm going to just finish all my notes and then sit down and record all of them at once. So
that is going to be, that's going to be...
I'm excited for those.
Yeah, that's going to be fun, but that's going to be a lot of work for you.
Yes.
All right, guys, we've taken up enough of your time, and we're just dragging it out at this point, as we're masters of doing, clearly. So take care, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.